When we talk about fixing the heart, we're not talking about something distant or philosophical. We're talking about the place inside you where every emotion, every intention, and every decision begins. The heart is where faith settles, where fear hides, where hope grows, and where pain lingers. And if the heart is tired, confused, or distant from its creator, nothing in life will feel right, no matter how much success, comfort, or recognition you may chase. So before trying to fix your life, your relationships, or your circumstances in this new year, begin by reconnecting your heart with the one who created it, because that is where real healing starts. Many of us spend so much time trying to fix what is happening on the outside. We change routines, chase opportunities, move to new places, surround ourselves with new people, and still something inside feels unsettled. That restlessness is the heart quietly asking to be remembered. It is the soul longing for closeness to the one who gives it peace. When the heart is connected to Allah, even hardship feels lighter, even pain rise meaning, and even uncertainty becomes a path of trust instead of fear. But when that connection weakens, the world starts to feel heavier, worries grow louder, and small problems begin to feel overwhelming. Reconnecting the heart is not about perfection. It is not about never making mistakes, never feeling weak, or never struggling. It is about turning back, again and again, with honesty and humility. It is about saying, "My heart is tired, my soul is heavy, and I need you." That simple return, that sincere moment of awareness, is the beginning of repair, because the heart does not heal through distraction, noise, or escape. It heals through remembrance, surrender, and trust. Sometimes the heart becomes tired because it has been depending too much on people, on outcomes, or on worldly approval. We place our expectations in friendships, careers, plans, or achievements, and when they fail us, the heart feels betrayed. But the truth is, the heart was never meant to rely completely on anything temporary. It was created to rely on the one who never changes. When the heart attaches to the world, it becomes fragile. When it attaches to Allah, it becomes steady, grounded, and resilient. Reconnecting your heart means allowing faith to guide your emotions instead of letting emotions control your faith. It means remembering that every blessing, every delay, every closed door, and every opened one is part of a wisdom greater than what you can see right now. It means speaking to Allah in your moments of joy and in your moments of exhaustion, not only with words on your tongue, but with feelings in your chest. It means letting your prayer become a place of comfort instead of a routine, letting your Quran recitation soften your thoughts instead of rushing through it, letting your moments of silence turn into moments of reflection. And yes, there will be days when the heart feels heavy again. There will be moments when you slip, when doubts whisper, when sadness returns. But reconnecting your heart is not a one-time event. It is a journey, gentle, patient, and ongoing. Every time you return, every time you remember, every time you choose faith over fear, the heart grows stronger, softer, and more alive. And slowly you begin to feel something change inside, a calmness that is not tied to circumstances, a strength that does not depend on certainty, and a peace that remains even when life is not perfect. So, as you move forward, don't begin by fixing your schedule, your plans, or your surroundings. Begin by fixing the one place that defines how you experience everything around you, your heart, and watch how life begins to align from the inside out. There comes a moment in every tired soul's journey when the weight inside the chest feels heavier than anything happening on the outside. You go through your day, you smile, you speak, you show up where you're expected to be, but deep inside, there is a quiet ache that never seems to leave. That exhaustion doesn't always come from work or responsibilities. Sometimes it comes from unspoken fears, unresolved disappointments, and emotions you've been carrying silently for years. And the heart can only hold so much before it begins to whisper, "Let me rest. Let me release what I no longer have the strength to carry." Letting go of emotional exhaustion begins with honesty, not with others, but with yourself before Allah. We spend so much time pretending to be strong, pretending that we're fine, pretending that nothing affects us, yet the heart was not created to be a storage room for pain. It was created to seek relief through connection. When you raise your hands in dua, you are not performing a ritual. You are opening a door for your soul to breathe. You are saying, "I don't have control over everything, and I don't need to because I know who does." And in that moment of surrender, a tired soul finds its first taste of calm. Reflection is just as important as supplication. Sometimes the exhaustion we feel is not only from hardship, but from running too fast through life without pausing to understand what our heart is trying to tell us. Reflection invites you to sit with your feelings instead of escaping them. It allows you to ask, "What is Hu ting me? What am I afraid of? What am I still holding on to that I should have released long ago?" When you allow yourself to face these questions gently, without judgment, the heart begins to soften, and healing begins from within. There are tears that never fall, words that were never spoken, hopes that were never fulfilled, and all of them live inside the heart if they are never released. Dua becomes the place where those unshed tears finally find permission to flow. It is where you bring every disappointment, every broken expectation, every hidden bruise of the soul, and place it in the hands of the one who understands you more deeply than anyone else ever could. And the more you empty your burdens in those quiet moments, the lighter your chest begins to feel. Emotional exhaustion, so fades when we stop fighting our weaknesses and start embracing our humanity. You are allowed to feel tired. You are allowed to feel overwhelmed. You are allowed to have days when faith feels heavy and hope feels distant. What matters is not that you never fall, but that every fall becomes a reason to return closer, softer, and more sincere than before. Dua is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration that your strength comes from somewhere higher than your own power. Through reflection, you also begin to recognize patterns, habits, thoughts, or attachments that drain your energy and darken your heart. And slowly, you learn to replace them with gratitude, patience, and trust. You learn to speak to Allah when no words form on your tongue, only feelings form in your chest. You learn emotional release is not just crying. Sometimes it is breathing deeply during prayer, pausing in silence after recitation, or whispering gratitude when your heart feels fragile. And as you continue on this path, something beautiful happens. The exhaustion that once felt suffocating begins to transform into clarity. The heart that once felt heavy begins to rediscover hope. You realize that, you are not alone with your emotions, not abandoned in your struggles, not unseen in your quiet tears. You are heard, you are carried, and you are guided, always, when your heart learns to let go through dua and reflection. Release what weighs you down, and watch how your soul begins to rise. There are moments when the heart feels heavy not because of what is happening around us, but because of is quietly growing inside it. Envy that slips in unnoticed, pride that disguises itself as confidence, resentment that begins as a small bruise and slowly hardens into bitterness. These are not loud emotions, they are subtle, silent, and often hidden even from ourselves. But they drain the soul, cloud the heart, and dim the light of faith in ways we do not realize until we begin to feel restless, distant, and spiritually unsettled. Purifying the heart starts with courage. The courage to look inward and admit that something inside needs to change. It is easier to blame circumstances, people, or life itself than to acknowledge that the real struggle may be within. Envy grows when we compare our lives to others and forget that every blessing is written with divine wisdom. Pride grows and we forget that every ability, every achievement, every moment of success was never ours alone. Resentment grows when we hold on to past hurts instead of releasing them to the one who sees every injustice and promises every soul its due. The heart heals when we replace envy with gratitude. Instead of looking at what someone else has, we begin to thank Allah for what is already in our hands. Health, breath, faith, opportunities, lessons, and even struggles that shape us. Gratitude softens envy because it reminds the heart that every blessing has a purpose, every delay carries wisdom, and every difference between people is part of a divine design. When gratitude settles in, the heart stops competing and starts trusting. The heart purifies itself from pride through humility. Humility does not mean belittling yourself or denying your strengths. It means recognizing their source. It means saying, whatever I have, whatever I know, whatever I achieve, it is a gift, not a personal victory. Humility keeps the heart light because it removes the illusion of self-dependence and replaces it with reliance. It teaches us to walk gently, speak kindly, and act sincerely, knowing that our worth is not measured by position or recognition, but by intention and sincerity. Resentment, perhaps the heaviest of all, begins to fade when we learn to forgive for the sake of our own peace. Forgiveness does not erase history, nor does it deny pain, but it frees the soul from constantly reliving it. When we hold on to anger, we give the past power over our present. When we release it, we allow the heart to move forward, lighter, calmer, and more open to healing. True strength is not in holding grudges, it is in choosing peace over bitterness. Purifying the heart is a lifelong journey, not a one-time effort. There will be moments when envy reappears, when pride whispers again, when resentment tries to return, but each time we notice it sooner, respond more gently, and turn back more sincerely. And with every return, the heart becomes clearer, softer, and more aligned with faith. A purified heart breathes differently. It loves more sincerely, trusts more deeply, and experiences life with a quiet sense of peace that no worldly achievement can replace. Clean the inside, and you will discover how beautifully the outside begins to change. There is something extraordinary about the quiet, consistent acts that slowly shape the heart over time. We live in a world that celebrates intensity, instant results, dramatic change, but the heart does not heal through sudden bursts of effort. It heals through small moments repeated with sincerity, through habits that may seem simple on the surface, yet carry profound depth within them. When faith is strengthened through steady worship, the soul begins to rediscover energy, hope, and stability, even in seasons of uncertainty and fatigue. Every prayer offered with presence, every moment of dhikr whispered softly, every page of Quran recite. With reflection, these are like drops of water falling on hardened soil. One drop may not seem like much, but over time it softens the ground, preparing it to receive life again. In the same way, consistent worship gradually softens a tired heart, clears its heaviness, and gently brings it back to alignment. It is not about perfection, it is about continuity. Even a small act, repeated with love, is more powerful than a grand act performed once and forgotten. There are days when the heart feels inspired and the soul feels awake, and worship comes easily. But there are also days when the heart feels distant, the body feels heavy, and motivation feels weak. Those are the moments that truly build spiritual strength, because choosing to remain consistent during difficulty is what trains the heart to rely not on emotion, but on commitment. Worship done only when one feels inspired remains fragile. Worship done even when tired becomes an anchor. Strengthening faith through habit also means slowing down long enough to feel what you are doing. Prayer is no longer something rushed between tasks. It becomes a pause where the soul breathes. Dhikr is no longer a list of words, it becomes a conversation flowing from the heart. Quran is no longer recited with the tongue alone, it is recited with thought, with reflection, with humility. And with every small effort, the heart begins to remember why it was created, and the soul begins to taste a peace that does not depend on circumstances. Patience plays a powerful role in this journey. Sometimes we expect immediate transformation. We want instant tranquility, instant strength, instant clarity. But the heart grows like a seed beneath the soil, quietly, gradually, unseen at first. Consistent acts of worship nurture that unseen growth. You may not notice change day by day, but one day you look back and realize that the heart which once felt restless now feels calmer, the soul which once felt scattered now feels grounded, and the fatigue which once consumed you has turned into resilience. Good habits also protect the heart when life becomes overwhelming. When stress builds, when emotions rise, when uncertainty presses in, a heart rooted in steady worship does not collapse. It bends, it trembles, but it remains connected. That connection gives strength in hardship and humility in ease. It reminds you that your worth is defined by achievement. Your failures do not define your destiny, and your journey is held within a wisdom greater than your own. And as consistency deepens, faith stops feeling like a task and begins to feel like companionship. Worship is no longer only an obligation, it becomes a source of warmth, comfort, and grounding. The heart learns to return again and again, not out of fear, but out of love. And slowly the tired soul begins to awaken with new hope, new clarity, and a renewed sense of purpose. Stay consistent in the small things, and watch how they quietly transform the depths of your heart. So many hearts today are tired, not because life is empty, but because they are constantly chasing something that keeps moving further away. Success, validation, perfection, certainty, can't. We run after timelines we've created for ourselves, expectations we absorbed from society, and dreams we believe must happen exactly when and how we planned. And when life unfolds differently, when doors close, when plans are delayed, the heart begins to feel frustrated, restless, and disappointed. But the deeper exhaustion often comes from forgetting that not everything is meant to be rushed. Some things are meant to arrive only when the heart is ready to receive them. Trusting Allah's timing is not about becoming passive or giving up effort. It is about understanding that we are responsible for the journey, not the outcome. We strive, we pray, we plan, but we also accept that the final result belongs to a wisdom far greater than our own. When the heart learns to trust that timing, it stops fighting every delay and starts seeing meaning inside moments that once felt like interruptions or setbacks. There are times in life when we desperately want something to happen. A dream to come true, a situation to change, a door to open, and when it doesn't, we feel like we are being held back. But sometimes those delays are protection. Sometimes they are preparation. Sometimes they are an act of mercy disguised as waiting. The heart grows stronger when it stops asking, "Why hasn't this happened yet?" and starts asking, "What is this moment teaching me?" Because in waiting, patience is built. In uncertainty, trust is strengthened. In surrender, the heart finds peace. The world convinces us that worth is measured by achievements, progress, and constant movement, but the soul was not designed to live in constant pursuit of the next milestone. It was designed to experience presence, gratitude, and connection. When we chase the world too hard, the heart becomes anxious. When we rely on Allah's wisdom, the heart becomes calm. Trusting His timing allows us to breathe between efforts, to appreciate what is already here, and to recognize that every season of life carries its own purpose. Sometimes the thing we are waiting for arrives later so that we can grow into the person who is able to handle it. Sometimes a prayer is answered differently because what we asked for would have hurt us in ways we could not foresee. And sometimes the timing feels slow only because we are measuring life by the clock, while Allah is shaping it through destiny. When the heart accepts that reality, disappointment turns into reflection and delays turn into opportunities for deeper faith. Trusting the timing of Allah also means releasing the urge to compare our journey with anyone else's. No two lives move at the same rhythm, and what appears fast for one person may be hollow inside, while what seems slow for another may be full of unseen blessings. When the heart stops comparing, it stops feeling behind. It begins to realize that it is exactly where it is meant to be in this moment, growing in ways that are hidden but meaningful. And as trust deepens, the heart becomes lighter. You still work hard, you still strive, you still dream, but you no longer carry the burden of controlling everything. You learn to walk with effort and surrender at the same time. You begin to see beauty not only in what arrives, but in the journey toward it, and slowly you discover that real peace does not come from everything happening according to your plan. It comes from knowing that every moment, every delay, every change is unfolding according to His. Trust the timing written for you, and let your heart rest in the wisdom that has always been guiding your path. There comes a time when the heart realizes that real change doesn't begin with a new calendar year, a new plan, or a new environment. It begins with a quiet decision inside the soul, a decision to renew intention, to let go of what has been weighing you down, and to choose a path that brings you closer to meaning, purpose, and spiritual growth. Making this year a journey of inner renewal is not about becoming a different person overnight. It is about slowly becoming more honest with yourself, more aware of your actions, and more committed to nurturing the state of your heart. Inner renewal begins when you pause and ask yourself who you are becoming, not just what you are achieving. The world teaches us to measure growth through accomplishments, recognition, and productivity, but the heart measures growth through sincerity, compassion, patience, and faith. Sometimes the most transformative changes are the ones no one else can see. The moment you choose kindness instead of anger, forgiveness instead of resentment, humility instead of pride. These quiet shifts shape the soul far more deeply than any external achievement ever could. To make this year a year of spiritual growth, you must also be intentional about the choices you make every day. The people you surround yourself with, the voices you listen to, the habits you repeat, all of these either nourish the heart or drain it. When you choose companions who remind you of goodness, conversations that uplift you, and environments that strengthen your values, the heart begins to feel lighter and more focused. Growth does not happen in isolation. It happens in spaces where the soul feels guided, encouraged, and supported. Sometimes renewal also requires courage. The courage to walk away from patterns that no longer align with who you want to become. Maybe it's a habit that weakens your discipline, a mindset that feeds negativity, or an attachment that distracts you from your purpose. Letting go is not always easy, but it is often necessary. The heart cannot open to new peace while it is still holding on tightly to what keeps it restless. Every step you take away from what harms your soul is a step toward clarity, strength, and genuine peace. Growth also means being gentle with yourself along the way. There will be days when you feel inspired and motivated, and other days when you feel tired or discouraged. Renewal is not a straight path. It rises and falls like waves. What matters is that you keep returning. Keep trying, keep aligning your heart with intention, even when the journey feels slow. Every sincere effort is seen, every quiet struggle is valued, and every moment of trying again shapes the soul in ways you may not realize yet. And as you commit to this inner transformation, you begin to notice subtle but powerful changes within yourself. Your reactions become calmer. Your thoughts become clearer. Your heart becomes more grounded. The world may still be noisy, challenges may still come, life may still bring difficulty, but something inside feels steadier, more anchored, more aware of its purpose. That is the gift of inner renewal. It does not erase hardship, but it strengthens the heart to face life with grace, trust, and resilience. So as you step into this new chapter, let your greatest goal not be to change the world around you, but to transform the world within you. Because when the heart renews, life begins to feel different from the inside out.